our lighting guy. They need to have enough information so that they say, I'm in. I'm going to commit my time for those 90 days. I'm going to commit money to get started with that initial product. I'm going to commit my contacts, more importantly, my reputation. I'm going to commit that. So what do they need to have as information for them to be able to say, yes, I'm prepared to make that decision, to commit those things? They need information. What information do they need? Well, they need to know why this is something important, how this can happen for them and the people they care about, and what it takes to succeed. When they have that information, whether it takes you 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days to deliver that information, they're going to be in a position to be able to say, okay, I see why this can work for me. I see how this can work for me, and I see what I need to do that I can make this happen. If they say yes to those things, you're going to have a partner. If at any point in time in this process they say time out, then you know it's time out for them right now. But what do I do when I get to that point? I get an A involved. Say, can you tell me why it's a timeout? You told me that these are the things you want in your life and you're not getting. Why are we at a roadblock here? What's the problem? Find out what it is. And then say, you know what? I know somebody who can answer that. You get an A. Now, what I like is this last piece, and it's called the lock-in event. The lock-in event is something that closes the situation, makes it an affirmation. The lock-in event takes them from knowing Nikken in their mind, the possibility, and dropping it into their heart. Now, I'll give you an example of a lock-in event. This right now. If you have a new guest here, a new consultant here, what they're getting is excited. What they're getting is good information. They're getting something that they know, wow, this is real. This is really real. And they can see it. And if they can see it for themselves, then they are a go. They're a green light. They're going to want to launch the business. But if they're still not sure, they're not going to give you a green light. They might buy the products, but they may not make the commitment of the time. They may not make the commitment of the list. So how do I get the time and the list and the investment? How do I get them all? I need them to say, I'm in. They need to be in. So how do I get that? Expose them to people who are successful. The more success they see, the more that they can relate to, the more likely they're going to say, okay, I have enough social proof that this is real. Social proof, write that down. People need social proof that the business is real. We already have proof that the products are. 40 years of history is one thing. A demonstration would help. Testimonials would help. But social proof that the business of Nikken works is the key to crystallizing that yes. So how do you get social proof that the business works? Have an event. Invite people who are successful in Nikken to speak. Whether that event is a live event, whether that event is a phone call, whether that event is a Skype, any way you can introduce these people to success in Nikken is going to lock that in. Now, I'm going to be speaking with the leaders in Cancun. We're going to be talking about a thing called the rhythm of the business. And the rhythm of the business is, what are the events that I need to have on a regular basis so my team can lock people in? I believe this lock-in event is a monthly event. Come on in. You can come in, don't worry. It's not a movie. People don't worry. So are we clear about that? I'm giving you the best I got. I'm telling you this is the process that works. You tell people why, you show them how, and you give them the information of what it takes to succeed. Lock them in by showing them that there are people actually succeeding, and now it's in their hands. Now they can honestly and legitimately say, okay, I see this, I can do this, I want to be a part of this. Okay? And now you have a plan, and you now have a person to work with the plan. So launch them. And last piece, and then we'll take a break. So here's the plan. Here's our 30-day plan of our 90-day plan. We're going to do this for 30 days. Then the people who join us, we're going to do the same thing with them for 30 days. And then the people who join them, we're going to work with them to do the same thing for 30 days. Okay? It's the same thing, 30 days. How do we get this 21 Club thing done? Well, it's really simple. If I want 3 people to say, yes, I'm in, 3 partners, how many people do I need to say, say, I think it's a yes? If I have 3 yeses, how many maybes do I have? Well, there's a rule called the rule of thirds. I've got 9 people who say, yeah, count me in. But out of the 9 people who say, yeah, count me in, you're going to have 3 who really come through. So I need to have 9 people say, I'm in. In the 21 Club, it's 10. 10 people. So now, if I've got 9 people or 10 people who say, yeah, this sounds like a great idea. I want to get some products. How many people do I have to present the idea to? Rule of thirds. Somewhere between 27, 30 people. We know 30 people who are presented Nikken in the full entirety. From that, 10 will be customers, 10 will join you in the business, and 10 will give you a name or a referral if you ask. And of the 10 who join you in the business, 3 or 4 will actually launch, will actually initiate. We know this. This is the golden rule. So how fast do I want to find those people who want to launch? I want them this month. Why? Because next month I want to help them launch their people. That's the plan. Golden 90 days. So if we do this, you will create a silver ship. How many people do I have to have on my list to pick up the phone and call, or text, which seems to be more valuable these days? Text, can you meet for coffee? How many people do I have to have on my list to get 27 to 30 say, yeah, let's do it Thursday. Yeah, let's do it. How many people? Rule of thirds. So that's why we ask people to make a list. Because if we don't have enough names on the list, we're not going to have enough people who want to hear about Nikken now. They may want to hear about Nikken later. That's fine. But I'm looking to make this plan work. To make this plan, to bake this cake, I need these ingredients. I need 27 to 30 people say, tell me more. To have 27 to 30 people say, tell me more in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I have to have 100 people phone and contact and whatever to find those 30 who say, oh yeah, okay, let's get together. Now, you might be thinking, that's going to take a lot of time. Maybe. Or, how about if you just had them all at one location at one time? Or you spread it out over 3 events. 1 week, another week, week number 3. So 9 people, 9 people, 9 people. You're making calls every day to make sure there's 9 people in the meeting. Making calls every day, make sure there's 9 people in the meeting. Making calls every day, make sure there's 9 people in the meeting. Do you know if you didn't have a meeting, if the church didn't have a meeting every Sunday, there wouldn't be a church? If you don't have a meeting every week, do you have a business? So you need to plan this every week. And next week you'll have them and their people. And the week after that you'll have them, their people, and their people. And pretty soon your living room is not going to fit these people. You're going to need a theater. That's the goal. You're going to continue to grow this until you actually outgrow the space you're in. So, last slide, and then we take a break. So invest. Really invest your time, your money, your contacts. Teach people the value of the investment of the time, their money, and the contacts, because if you don't teach them the value of the investment, they won't make the investment. It's not enough for them to buy the products. You don't build a business by them buying the products. You build a business by helping them launch their business. And they'll only do that if they understand the value of time, of money, of contacts. It's like a snowball. Little snowball, you roll it in the snow, you can make a snowman. A bigger snowball is easier to roll in the snow. So the more you invest in your time and your money in contacts, the more they invest of their time, their money into contacts, the easier it'll be. The easier to build the snowman. Okay, so I guess we should take a break on that note. And she has an announcement before you go. Hang on.
Thank you, Mike. I think he deserves an applause. Muchas gracias. ¿Qué les pareció? ¿Cómo van? ¿Tenía yo razón o me equivoqué? Bueno, pues qué bueno que estén aquí. La verdad es que me da muchísimo gusto ver la sala llena. Como les digo.
Okay. Very quickly, let's get back to where we were. If you remember, we talked about making an investment in your business and asking others to do the same so that the value of the business is established and the value of the commitment is established. I think it's very important people make a committed decision, otherwise it's really not a decision. I've been doing mentoring quite a while, and it's amazing to me that people don't understand what the word commitment means. It doesn't mean I'm going to try and do it. It means if it's the very last breath I take, I'm going to be doing it. Even if I don't succeed, you can count on me to be there. That's what commitment means. You know, the example of I forget what general, when they came across and landed their ships, the general instructed his team to burn the ships. So there was no way home. They were outnumbered 10-1 in the military, so there was no way they would normally win this victory, 10 people to 1. But he said, burn the ships. That way there was no way to retreat. So it's, you go forward and win or die trying. And they won the battle. That's commitment. So I think people would have a lot more success in life if they committed to success. And since this topic today is all about aligning with success, it's really about putting yourself in the pathway of success. The pathway that's already there. There's many, many people who've come before you, and there will be many people who go after you who will succeed in their business, they'll succeed in life, they'll succeed at creating the things that they want to create. And the only distinction between them and you is how committed they are to that success. That's really the only distinction. Because the law of attraction doesn't make favorites, doesn't play favorites with anybody. It's as unbiased as anything can be. Think about this. Gravity. Does it matter if you're good or bad when you step off a building where gravity is concerned? It doesn't. God's laws don't care. They are what they are. You either align with them or you succumb to them. But the law is perfect, and it applies to everyone exactly the same. So, by the way, example, law of attraction. Very successful drug dealers have a lot of money, don't they? Now, I didn't tell you these were drug dealers who dealt legal drugs or illegal drugs. But the same is true for both. See, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. That's a moral thing. That's a man-made thing, the decision of good and bad. The law, which applies to everyone equally, is the same law. So you can make good things happen in your life, you can make bad things happen in your life. That's just a perspective. But how it happens in your life is always you making it happen. The law is the same. So, going back to this idea of commitment, there's one other commitment that you see up there, beating. One of the things that you'll read from the most successful authors and mentors and business people in the world is, if you can fall in love with your idea, if you can fall in love with what it is that you're doing, you'll succeed at it. It really becomes a part of, are you expressing it from a pure place in your heart? Nikken is the heart business. Nikken is the heart company. It really is about passion and a sense of purpose. And if you can fall in love with this, people will see and believe you. They may not still join, but they will never question your authenticity, your integrity. And so I always know, it's Ruiz. Is it Luis Miguel Ruiz? Or he's an author. Don Miguel Ruiz, thank you. The author of The Four Agreements, which is an immaculate piece of work. And one of the four agreements, I think it's the last one, besides being impeccable with your words. So when you say, I'm going to do something, do it. I used to say, I remember when I first joined Nikken, when I was first teaching in Mexico, I used to always say what you mean what you say. That's what it means to be impeccable with your word. Say what you mean what you say. So be listening for words that are contradictory to your alignment. Words that you use yourself, like, I'll try to be there. You will either be there or you won't be there. Let me give you an example. Would you help me out, Pilar? Pilar, would you try and pick up that bottle for me, please? No. I didn't say pick it up. I said try and pick it up. Just try and pick it up. She's trying. It's kind of foolish, isn't it? Thank you. You either pick it up or you don't. But don't try. That's a waste of everybody's time. So listen for that word. When people tell you on the phone, okay, yeah, don't worry, I'll try to be there. You'll try to be there? Are you sitting at your desk? Yeah? What's on your desk? My pen, my papers. Your pen? Can you do me a favor? Can you try and pick up your pen, please? Just do that for me right now. Is it in your hand? Yeah? No, I didn't say pick it up. I said try and pick it up. You understand? So are you going to be there or aren't you going to be there? All right. Listen. People tell you things that you're not hearing. Or you do this so often yourself, you don't hear it when it's being done. And then you're at the meeting waiting for them thinking, what an ass, they didn't come. They said they were going to come. Oh no, they said they were going to try to come. It's not the same. So listen for these things. Commit and learn what that means. Be impeccable. The other thing that he says in his four agreements, the fourth one, is always do the best you can. Because if you've done the best you can, you know you can be proud. Regardless of the results, you did the best you can. So when you're with a prospect, with a distributor, you can't make anybody do something, and you shouldn't make anybody do something that is not in their interest or they don't decide to do for themselves. But you can always do the best you can. And know when you walk away from that situation, if it's a no, you did the best you can. They said no to their own opportunity, to themselves, not to you. People don't say no to you. People say no to themselves. They say no to opportunity. They're saying no to the possibility of them having a different life when you're introducing them to Nikken. It's not a no to you. So if you're doing the best you can, then you have nothing to be ashamed about, nothing to regret, and you can go on to the next appointment with yourself being in perfect integrity, which is really, really important. Somebody brought up, can this be done part-time? Or do you have to be full-time to do this? It's a tricky answer. Because the truth of the matter is you have to be full-time, part-time. So whether you do this an hour a day, 2 hours a day, 5 hours a day, whatever the time it is that you're putting into this business of yours, be fully present. Be fully present. When you're spending time with your kids, be fully present. When you're spending time with your significant other, be fully present. There's really very little point to living your life somewhere over there when you're physically over here. Enjoy every precious moment. If you call my phone, you'll hear that in my voicemail. You'll hear me say, enjoy every precious moment. Why? Because every moment is a moment in time, it's your life. And if you're not in alignment, you're all over the place, you didn't get that moment to enjoy. So enjoy every moment. Be fully present in the moment. Because actually, you can't change anything if you're not fully present in the moment. The only time you can ever change anything in your life is now. Or now. I mean, now. It's only ever now that you can make a decision. So, whenever it is that you make that decision, it's now. It's in the moment. So the moment is the only thing that matters. The past, you can't change. There's no point in trying. The future, well, there's not much point in worrying about that. If you want to have a positive future, make a good decision now that's in alignment with that future. But be fully present when you make that decision. So the power that you wield as a created being, the power that's flowing to and through you as the creation of God, is the same power that created the sun, the moon, the stars, the electrons, atoms that you're made of. The one and only power there is. That power is flowing in and through you. And so, what are you doing with it? Are you splitting it into hairs, or are you really focusing it? Are you really applying it in a way that is productive and moving you in the direction you want to go? You're the one wielding that power. Nothing is ever happening to you. It's only happening through you. Okay? So, this thing called heart, get into it. If you can fall in love with this idea, or help people to fall in love with this idea through personal experience and interaction with others, then doing Nikken, talking about Nikken, it's joy. You find joy in it. And when people see you find joy in something, and they don't have what you have, there's a movie, I think it was When Harry Met Sally. Do you know that movie? Yeah. When Harry Met Sally, they're in the restaurant. And Meg Ryan, who was a gorgeous actress at the time, she's talking with, what was the person on the other side? The comic actor, Billy Crystal. And they're at that restaurant, and they're talking about relationships and having sex. And she's saying that, they're talking about faking an orgasm. Can I say that out loud here? Some of you have experience with this, okay? So, personally, I hope you have a lot of experience with this. So anyway, she starts pretending, and she gets really into it, like it's happening right there in the moment, and the whole restaurant's going. And he's getting embarrassed, but she's really good at it. And at the end, the camera turns to an elderly couple there, and the woman says to the waiter, "I'll have what she's having." So when you really get into it, what it is that we do here in Nikken, put your heart in it, people will resonate. They'll be attracted to it. Okay. One of the things that I think is really important the question of part-time. Let's get back to that, part-time. Full-time or part-time. You can manage your time. You can manage the events, and you can make your time more efficient. If you're going to see 30 people, you're going to have to make phone calls to make those appointments. How long is a phone call? You want to make it? You want to sell the entire opportunity over the phone call? No. You just want the appointment. That's it. And I never say what the business is about, because we're not talking about that. We're talking about what in the first conversation? Why? How, that's the presentation. They're going to learn about how if we can establish a why. If we cannot establish a why, I'm not going to get into the how. It's that simple. So one of the things I like to say is, look, we need to get together. You need to see this. It would be like me trying to give you a haircut over the phone. I can't do that. We need to get together. So things like that. Stick to the why. And that conversation can be very quick, especially if you know who you're talking to and why. Now there's an audio that I've done called Contact and Invite. I encourage you to study it as to how to make that first contact. You'll find it on YouTube in my name, Mike DiMuccio, Contact and Invite. And it's a really good audio. Obviously it's an audio, but it's on YouTube. And it really gets into the dialogue, the short and very pointed dialogue of how to attract somebody into the conversation, the things you would say. The first thing I always do is compliment somebody. But it's a genuine compliment. It's not arbitrary. So before I actually know who I'm calling, I think about what it is that I like about that person. A genuine compliment about that person. Because that's the honest reason why I'm calling them. If I didn't like them, why would I invite them to join me in business? So the first thing I'm going to talk to them about is what I like about them. That waiter that I noticed, that's the first thing I'm going to say when I call them back. You remember me? We met, I noticed that you blah, blah, blah. I really like that about you. Oh, yeah. That's the first thing. The next thing I say is, I think I've got something that might be of interest that I'd like to talk to you about. Something we can share in common. And if I know this person about their 5 pillars, let's say I know they're having trouble financially, they're having trouble with physically, I might suggest, you've been dealing with a back issue for quite a few years. Has that ever been resolved? No, it's this, that, whatever. Okay. Well, I think I might have found something. That's how I was approached. That might work. I don't know. The other thing is, there's more to this than just an amazing technology. I want to talk to you about maybe partnering with me. There's a possibility that you and I could create quite a business as a result of this. But I don't expect you to say yes or no to me. I don't know if it's for you. So why don't we get together and have a look, and then you can tell me. It may not be for you. I always say that. Because that lets their guard down. That means, oh, he's not going to try to twist my arm. He's not going to try to sell me something. This may not be for you. We'll know very quickly when we get together and go through this. So these are the kind of things that I speak about when I invite somebody to sit down with me. That conversation can be fairly quick. And then when we sit down, that presentation, that meeting, that could be a little bit longer. And is it worth the time? If this person goes on to build a Royal Diamond business in your network, is it worth the time? Sure, so treat everybody like that's the person you're talking to, because that's what you're talking to. You're picking up diamonds and you're talking to them. And talk to them as if they are that diamond. Some of them are going to actually turn out to be that diamond. And so every conversation you had leading up to that diamond was worth it. We don't really get paid to hear yes. We get paid to hear no more than we get paid to hear yes. So get really warm with that and comfortable with that. Now I know that's a scary thought because, oh my God, since this age, from this age, no, don't do that. You shouldn't. So we're terrified of no. Terrified. What if they don't like me? What if they don't accept me? What if? So shift out of that person. Switch the channel. Get into this person. Royal Diamond. Start talking the walk. Walking the walk and talking the talk. So how does a Royal Diamond deal with a no? Okay? Maybe you know somebody. I don't take it personally. It doesn't water off a duck's back. It's not about me. I know I did the best I could in communicating the value here. If they don't see it, it's about them not seeing it, not about me not seeing it. So why should I be offended? Why should I take it personally? I would rather have somebody say yes, but I don't have a problem with somebody saying no. So, and I would rather somebody say no than say yes and really mean no. Then they come into business, and then I feel obligated now to work with them, and everything is hard. Everything's the meeting is this, and they're like, well, you know, I'll try and be there, and you got to deal with all of that. I don't want to run a professional babysitting service. So I would rather somebody say no. In fact, sometimes I help them say no. I do. Sometimes I help them to say no when they say, you know, I don't really believe that these products work. Or I don't really believe in network marketing. Oh, well, maybe this is not for you then. Try it. Just try it. I used to do things like this. I used to put myself in the shoes of my mentor and say what I know he would say in that situation. And it's amazing, the response. I would get the same reactions he would get. Because he would say it from a certain posture. So, well, maybe this is not for you then. Well, you know, I didn't say that. I just need to know. It's amazing how people respond differently when you are in your place, when you are firm in your position. You know who you are, you know where you're going, and you would love for them to join you, but you're not going to sit there waiting for them. So, good stuff? Good information? What about those two? So, you can spend, with respect to time, when you're meeting with people, you can meet with more than one person at a time. Like, you can have a launch where you have one meeting a week, and in that meeting, your goal is to have anywhere from 5 to 10 people in that meeting. Now, here's one thing I suggest. If you're inviting more than one person to a meeting, don't tell the person you're inviting more than one person to the meeting. Don't do that. Make it personal. Why? If there's 5 people there and they show up and they see there's 5 people there, first impression they're going to have is, oh, I'm not the only one? So that puts things into perspective. No, you're not. So you could say, no, I'm okay with that too. It creates a... Then, if they get there and they see there's 5 people there, the other thing they get is, oh, there's other people who are interested in this. But if you say, oh, I'm having a get-together with a few people, and it's like, you know, they're stuck in traffic, it's late, and they won't miss me if I don't go. They got other people, they won't miss me. So if this meeting is for them and them only, as far as they're concerned, they'll be a lot more respectful of your time. Okay? So you can gather people up and have in-home meetings. I do that. That is what I do. Most of my business meetings happen in a home. And that's comfortable. We talk about the wellness home business, so let's do it in a home. And everybody, you know, you can bring your guests to my place, I can go to your place, whatever. But we can leverage time by gathering people up in one place at one time, especially if you're on a launch. So I like to have a launch where I have 2 meetings in a week, not 1, 2. I want the choice of this day or this day. What day is good for you when the contact is made and the appointment is booked? This day or this day? So they give me a choice. I give them a choice. So if I'm having 2 in-homes 3 weeks in a row, that's 6 meetings. Each in-home is about 90 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how many questions they have. Do the math. 90 minutes, let's say even 2 hours. 2 hours times 2 is 4 hours, times 3, that's 12 hours. In a month, add the contacts and invites, maybe 15 minutes a call, maybe 15 minutes of follow-up, that's half hour. Times 30 people, that's 15 hours, right? So with about 40 hours a month, about 10 hours, 10 to 12 hours a week, you should be able to execute this launch strategy. And so even the busiest of people can manage this. And most people don't do this as a full-time thing. So the launch is not for a full-time person, but it's to apply yourself in laser focus. Make sure you're 100% there. Now, track your results. It's really important that you keep track of what you're doing, because if you're not managing your results, if you're not managing your activities, how do you know if you're on track? You know, so for instance, if your goal was to contact 6 people today, but you only contacted 3, are you going to be able to meet your commitment for the end of the week? No. So tomorrow you're going to have to do 6 plus 3 more. You have to make it up so that you can stay true to your plan. And this is with respect to everything. If you're eating, you know, you decide you're eating 3 light meals a day and you eat 4, or you eat 3 big meals or whatever, manage your plan. Track. Are you on track? So that you can see it. Draw it out as well. It's helpful to draw it out so you can visually see it. This is just a kind of a scorecard. So the goal is to fill in the blanks. Let's fill in the blanks. Let's work together to fill in the blanks. Who are the partners? Who are the customers? Let's fill in the blanks. That's our game sheet. How are we doing? I can look at that and decide where we're at, where we need to work, where we need to go next. But if we don't draw it out, map it out, keep track of it, then we're not really treating this like a business. We're not being fair. We're expecting much more than what we're putting in. So keep track of your results and get better at it. You know, the goal is to improve. You can become a professional in Nikken and get paid what a professional gets paid. But you're not going to make a fortune by accident. I promise you. It's never an accident. I actually don't believe in such a thing, and we'll talk about that next. So, here we are. We're up to the belief area. So remember how important beliefs are. What are the beliefs that are going to cause you to behave in a manner consistent with what we just talked about? What do you have to believe to be true that would have you go out there making that contact? Go out there setting those appointments. Go out there with certain expectations. What would you have to believe to be true? Well, you sure have to believe that it's possible to succeed. That's for sure. But more specifically, you have to believe in these things. The company, the products, network marketing, and of course, yourself and others. So let's start with the easy one, the company. Can you believe that the company is a good company, a reputable company, something that you could be proud to represent? Yes. How can you increase that belief? Well, that'll certainly help with the products. But with respect to the company itself, how do you increase your belief in the conviction of the company, the people? How about meeting them, connecting with them, knowing about it? So you have literature that Nikken sends you. When you started Nikken, did you get a kit? Have you read it? Good. Encourage people to do that. Are there events that Nikken has? Go to them. Webinars and so forth. These are things that are tools that are available to you and your downline. Remember, you're learning for the sake of teaching. You want to have freedom in this business, and to have freedom, you need to have people doing things without you. So teach good habits, good behavior, then you won't have to worry about who's doing what. They will be driven to do what they believe. So if they believe in the company because they're studying it, learning about it, connecting to it, then you won't have to convince them the company's on their side. What about the products? Use the products. The more you use, the more success you'll have with them, the more experience. And so when people say, what do I need to know about the products? Here's what you need to know. How they work for you. That's what you need to know. That's a heck of a lot more important than any science. Now, I'm an aerospace engineer. I'm actually qualified to speak about the science. But for most people, that would be a very confusing thing. So what you really want to share is your story. Have experience with your story. All right. What about network marketing? How do we get belief in network marketing? Ooh, a little more tricky. Well, there's nothing like proof. So let's go out and get some proof. When I'm launching somebody, helping them sponsor their first person raises their belief in network marketing tenfold, because now they've actually seen it happen for them. They can say there, oh, good for Mike. He's polished. He can do that. Good for Gloria. Oh, she's so successful. She knows. Where do you think we started? You think we started like this? Humans being more. Rewind the clock. You know, I wouldn't even get into that. So the idea of helping them gain belief is helping them actually succeed. Help them sponsor somebody. Get out there, help them create some results in a way that's predictable. You said this would happen, help them make that happen. For every 3 people, we're going to find one. But don't make it don't say, oh, we talked to 3, we didn't find one. The average is 3 to 1. So let's do the whole thing, and then we can discuss whether or not the results were in alignment, because we know they are. Do the whole thing. Let's do the whole launch. Okay? The other thing, and that's where the ABC comes in. The other thing is learning about it. There's some great books about network marketing. 2 that I recommend are up there. Another 2 that I recommend is the book by Eric Worre, The 4-Year Career. Phenomenal book. Very easy to read. It's written in Spanish. I would have copies. I hand those books out to people. It's called The 4-Year Career by Richard Brooke. And that book you can buy online. It's in Spanish. You can even get the PDF version. But what's so good about that book is that it's such a great explanation and validation of network marketing that you really would have to be an idiot to not understand and accept that. And quite frankly, if you're an idiot, do I really want to sponsor you? So, trust that. The other book is by Eric Worre called The 7 Steps. Is that the full title? Does anybody have a copy of that? Yeah, sorry, GoPro. And in there are the 7 steps. The 7 steps, basically the 7 skills that we need to get good at, like contacting and inviting, like presenting, like follow-up. I mean, these are basics, but we all need a good, lesson in basics. And this will help you teach your downline. How many of you were at the GoPro workshop in Las Vegas? Quite a few. Whoa. No wonder you guys are doing so well. Wow. And that's probably why you're doing so well. The belief that it shifted within you about network marketing and the possibility for you to be able to see yourself in those shoes was so profound, that really has kick-started your business or has, put jet engines on it. So attend these types of events when you can. Definitely get the book. Definitely study the book or the CDs, because it's your education into this world. And if you want to get good at something, you've got to be a student of it. So learn from people who have made millions. And you will learn from their experience what you need to know. The core, the key ingredients. We can always get better at something. I can always get better at contacting and inviting. I can always get better at follow-up. I can always get better at presenting. We can improve these things, but I need to know what it is I need to improve. All right, next thing, belief in yourself and others. Well, where do you get that? Belief comes from experience, from personal experience. So the one thing I encourage is humans being more as a start in the journey of personal development, because I believe that if you are not developing as a person, and if you're not helping your organization develop, then you're going to hit the wall. You're not going to be able to overcome the beliefs that are sitting inside their subconscious mind. They'll have struggles with that. And so helping people to grow as a person will naturally lead them to become better examples, better leaders, more confident in what they're doing. So personal development is really the business we're in. At the end of the day, personal development is really our business. Humans being more is about personal development. And that means looking at ourselves, reading. Reading is a huge source. I can't tell you how many books I have read and read all the time. I have the I Am discourses in my room at the hotel here. I'm an avid reader, and all of the people that I respect in business who are successful do the same. They read biographies of successful people. They read books that help them understand the psychology and the mind of people who have overcome struggles to success and become successful. You are a product of what you think. So you've got to start controlling what's going in here, what's being fed. You have spent all of your life right now, most of you, being subjected to information that has led you to a limiting belief and a limiting path. You need to now take charge, like you're taking charge of your own health. You need to take charge of your mental health, which means you've got to be an avid reader about things that are related to the path you're on. You're on the path of self-actualization. Because at the end of the day, what is a royal diamond? Well, what will that experience have led you to become? Well, imagine all the royal diamonds you've met up to now and think, where did they start? Imagine what they are, what a journey that's been, how much they've grown as people. So that's the path you're on. And it's the most important path you could possibly be on. It's why you were created. To grow. Spirit is for expansion. So, last piece of this is the structure. So what is the structure that I need to plug into, or structures that I need to plug into, that are going to give me those beliefs, that are going to reinforce those beliefs? You know, if I didn't go to church every Sunday, I wouldn't be believing in the Word of God, right? So what's the structures I can plug into that continue to help feed me the beliefs that I need to be able to then become and be and act in the way that's going to lead me down that path? Well, there are some excellent things that we have available to us. First of all, there's the company. Nikken. Anything connected to Nikken will help you solidify your convictions, your beliefs, the structure of Nikken. And that includes the online tools. Nikken is getting really good at this. They're really putting time and money into developing online tools. Things that will assist you in making your business very easy. Right, the next one that we're coming out with is a smartphone app. You think that'll be handy?
Yes.
Sure. So, take it in. Use it. It's there for you to build your business. How many of you have looked in the back office and said, you know, what's this report? What's this? Check it out. Take a day off just to say, okay, I need to know what's in the back office. Talk to your upline. Say, what are the tools that you use in the back office that are most useful for you? Like the genealogy, things like that. Because these resources, if you don't know you have them, you won't know how to use them. You'll never learn how to use them. And they're there for one purpose and one purpose only. To make your life easier and to make your business more profitable. So, if you don't know you have these tools, so check it out. Take a look at what's put in place for you. In addition to that, there is your upline. My goodness. Your upline is there to work with you, to help you grow. Now, I know that not everybody's upline is as active as some others. But there's somebody up there, if you go up high enough, that's in the game and is most definitely interested in helping you. And will help you. But you got to you got to reach out. You know, I sit on top of an organization of thousands of people. I can't be phoning you. Who am I going to phone? Pick a number, pick a line. Oh, I'm going to call this person today. One of the 10 or 50,000 people. No, but I get phone calls, I get emails, and I respond. I know who's wanting what based on, there's an expression in this business, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So if you want some grease, you got to squeak a little. But what I mean by that is, don't complain and don't whine. Don't go to your upline to complain or to whine. Go for support, for information, for help, encouragement. Don't complain and don't whine. There's a thing that I like to say. I like to be wanted. I hate to be needed. So don't call me and say, Mike, I need you. That's the worst thing you could say to me. But if you said, Mike, I want you, you got my attention. What's going on? So your upline is there if you utilize them. And because this business is so critical, the ABC, you need to have relationships with these people or you're not going to have an A to call when you need an A, which is always. So build those relationships. Don't be shy about who they are or what their rank is. They know who they're looking for. They're looking for the person who's looking for them. Okay, that's an underlying thing. They're looking for the person who's looking for them. But just be respectful of their time. So make sure that when you call them, you have a reason to call them. Don't tell me your life's story. I don't want to hear it. Tell me why you're calling. Tell me what it is that we're looking for so we can get to the solution. But the last thing I want to do is have an ongoing, my goodness. Some people like to talk. They like to hear themselves talk. And they want me to hear them talk. So, no. Get to the point. Why are you calling me? And for you as an upline, when you have your downline calling you, what is the purpose of this call? And if they get off of that, get them back on. Say, wait, time out. You're on a tangent. Come back to the point of the call. Your time is valuable. You could be talking to somebody else. You could be spending time with your kids instead. Make sure you understand that your time is valuable. When is it valuable? As a senior? Is your time valuable as a senior? Yes, because you're not that. You're a Royal Diamond. Your rank at this moment in time is a reflection of the past. It's not a reflection of the journey you're on, the path you're on, the person you're being. So start being that person in every way, including the respect you have for your time. And so these people, I didn't mention the Nikken family. You have in this group, well, if you weren't sponsored, let's see, pretty much everybody's cross-line. You may be part of one person's organization, but to each other, you're all cousins. Second cousins, third cousins, and so forth. So we're really all cross-line to each other. And so we need to create a community of cooperation. There's so few of us compared to the population that the last thing we need to be doing is attacking each other or fighting with each other or calling each other names or talking behind each other's back. This is not, kindergarten or grade school. This is adult, this is business, and it's time to act like you're a professional. And so, professional courtesy with your colleagues. And create an environment that's more family-like. Because when you bring somebody to a meeting where these people are at, what do you want that somebody to feel? Feel welcome. Feel like, wow, these people are excited. These people, look, they hug each other. Where do you go to a meeting and people hug each other? Nikken. It's the Nikken family. So the more we do that, the better we are at that, at building those cross-line relationships, the better success you're going to have, because it's going to help you in the long run and help your downline. So we want to create an experience of that. So don't just look for them to come to you and help you. Contribute. Be an active member of the community. So when events are happening, don't wait for things to happen. Don't ask for people to hand it to you on a silver platter. You're your own business person. Act like it. If somebody takes the time and initiative to put an event together, don't complain about what's wrong. You didn't put the event together. It's not your money on the line. It's not your time on the line. But you're able to take advantage of it. So if all you want to do is complain about it, how is that going to help? How is that in alignment with our purpose? So think about that. Be professional and courteous, because it takes a huge amount of effort to put an event like this together and make it a go. And you're running a huge risk. So events are something that are important in our business for your growth, for the growth of your organization. But they only work if we work them. So make a point of participating in the events, whatever they are. And if you're there alone, you're there to learn and to contribute to the event. But I don't suggest you go to events alone. I suggest you bring some people with you. If you're going to take time to be at one, bring people. And then you're working, you're building your business. All right, so all of this is going to help you build your business. It's all there to support you. Notice which direction those arrows are. So you have literally surrounding you an army of people and tools, a company that's spread out in countries around the globe, waiting for you to create. If you had to start Nikken, you had to pay money right now to have the distribution that Nikken has in 20 plus countries around the world. It would cost you a fortune. You'd never do it. But they're there. They're ready for your customers. They're ready for your downline. They're there. They're waiting for you to make it happen. Imagine that. You have a multinational, multi-billion-dollar operation running from your bedroom. You need to think of it that way. That's how important this is. That you have, and everybody's waiting for you to do something. They're not coming to you saying, hey, you got to do this. You got to open up that market. No. They just say the market's open for whoever is going to open it. Now, the world is a big place. But it's always good to grow where you're planted. So start with where you are and then spread from there. Grow from there. Don't get too busy traveling until you can afford to. So, last thought about this concept of alignment, because this is going to go into the next conversation. Imagine we're at a swimming pool and we're standing, there's a diving board on that swimming pool, and you're sitting on that diving board looking out over the water. Now, your downline is surrounding you, and in their hand, each one of them, they have a rock. Okay? This rock represents their thoughts, or this rock represents their activities. Okay? So, you tell them, okay guys, let's go. So they start going. They start throwing their rocks into the pool randomly. Splash, 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 splash. And they're making splashes everywhere. You're looking at the water. What do you see? Ripples. Just all over the place. Chaos is what you see. Now imagine the person on the diving board is God. And the people around the diving board is all of your personalities. All the random thoughts that you have in your head about success, about Nikken, about relationships. And you're firing these thoughts out there, and God's trying to figure out, what is this person saying? Well, what do they want? I don't get it. Just random chaos. That's how people are. Thoughts random here, there, and everywhere. And you wonder why they don't move in one direction? Because they're moving 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 5. It's just all over the place. Our thoughts are just, there's no coherency and consistency. But what if, and this could be our downline, by the way, we could have our downline doing stuff all over the place, and it's not really going anywhere. Nothing's really happening. It's messy, it's doing, but there's no movement. We need to create a movement. If we want to get 1,000 people in a theater, we're going to have to start a movement. You're not going to get 1,000 people, you're not going to get 10,000 people in a theater if you don't start a movement. If you notice, social movements and so forth, 10,000 people in the streets, demanding their rights or whatever. How do these movements get started? Somebody has to lead, get some followers, get a group together, make some events happen, plan some events, plan for them, and move everybody in that direction. And then all of a sudden, 10 people turn into 1,000, 1,000 into 100,000. So what we really need to do to really get Nikken on the map is create a movement. What you need to do on a microcosm for your business, to get your business on the map, is create a movement. How do we do that? We got to take the energy that we're now expending randomly here, there, and everywhere, focus it, and launch in one particular direction. So let's say we have the same people sitting around the swimming pool. They have the same rock in their hands. You're the observer, and you say, you're the leader, you're the conductor, you say, on the count of 3, I want you to aim to the middle of the pool. On the count of 3, throw your rock. Get it? 1, 2, 3. And they start throwing their rock. Boom! Now what do you see? A big wave, a big splash, and that wave moving. Very clear. It's like all those little rocks became one big boulder. That's the power. That's the power of creating alignment. Creating focused alignment, focused energy. That's the power of coherency. That's how a laser works. It takes random light, focuses it into one frequency and one direction, and that same light that would light a room, say 100 watts, would burn through steel. It's focused. That's how you create a movement. Within your business, within your mind, and the results in your life. So, this is what we mean by getting aligned. I'm going to switch PowerPoints because I'm going to get now to the subject I've been waiting for. So far, so good? You want to stick around for a little bit longer?
Yep.
Okay. I recently did this presentation in San Antonio. I had to whip it up to do in San Antonio. So this is my second time doing this PowerPoint, but not the second time doing this information. In my opinion, everything I've said up to now is about this. And everything I've said up to now won't matter if you don't apply this. This is the golden thread of every avatar, even Jesus Christ himself. Okay? This is the golden thread. This is the truth of all truths. Your understanding of this law. Because you are applying it right now, randomly. Creating things in your life, randomly, without focus, without sense of purpose and direction. But if you get it, you can create anything you want. Nothing is impossible. So what are you looking at here? It's a graph. Look at the year the graph was printed. 1966. Baxter. There's a scientist in his office, in his laboratory in New York, and he's playing. He has a polygraph. Do you know what a polygraph is? A lie detector. You know, they do it on people to see if they're lying. Oh, you're lying. Because your body has its own intelligence, and it does not lie. You can lie with your mouth, but your body cannot. Unless you're absolutely unbelievably trained. But otherwise, your body tells the truth. So, this guy is in his laboratory. And have you ever talked to your plants? Have you ever heard that talking to your plants is a good thing? You know, you can grow your plants and music and stuff like that. Yeah, sure. You've heard of that, right? Is it true? Yeah? Can you prove it? Okay. What are the ramifications of this if we really think about this? So this guy decides to put the polygraph on a plant. On the leaf of a plant, 1966. And so he starts talking to the plant. Nothing. He starts trying to think of ways to disrupt the plant. Nothing. He's toying. He's playing with the idea. Nothing is happening. He was standing about 5 feet away from the plant. So you see the polygraph right now. Nothing is happening. Nothing's going on. It's just random noise, right? Then all of a sudden, at number 1, he taps his pen. He's tapping his pen with plates just to see if everything's working. Zzz. Yeah, it's working. And then all of a sudden, at number 3, between point number 2 and point number 3, he's thinking. And then all of a sudden he has an idea. The second he has an idea, he hasn't said anything, he just had an idea. Look what the polygraph does. How could this plant know what he was thinking? How is it possible? What was he thinking? What he was thinking was, I know what I'll do. I'll burn the leaf. And the plant goes, what? Incredible. This experiment led to many experiments. There's another experiment in a book called The Intention Experiment. This is what we're talking about. By the way, why did it spike when he had the idea? He was trying. He couldn't get a reaction out of the plant, but then all of a sudden, he has an idea. What was it about that moment, that idea, not just the idea, but about the energy behind that idea that caused the plant to react? See, when he was toying with it, he wasn't really in it. He wasn't really committed. It wasn't really 100%. But when the idea was inspired, all of a sudden, everything's aligned because it's inspired. Inspiration, the spirit within. And the idea is alive. And the plant feels it and reacts. Now, a plant is supposed to not have consciousness, is it? Or is the plant conscious? Well, what we've learned is that yes, indeed, the plant is conscious. In fact, nothing is not conscious. Even the rock is conscious. Even a rock. Varying degrees of consciousness. But what we do know as well is that human beings are the most extraordinary of all creation, because our range of consciousness is far greater and can climb very, very high and become one like God. A rock can't. But a human being can, in a physical body, become one like the Father. So, that's why it's said that we are the greatest creation of the Creator. Because we have evolved into something that has a sense of its own consciousness. A plant does not. But we have an awareness of our own thoughts. We have an awareness of our own consciousness. Self-awareness is a great creation. It's better than just awareness. So, this example, the plant, they did an experiment where they had a plant in a laboratory in Boston, MIT University, and they shielded it. They created what they call electromagnetic shielding. So they knew for sure there was no electromagnetic field stimulating this plant. In London, all the way across the Atlantic, they had a group of psychics, people who were known to have the ability to focus thoughts, which is really what a psychic is. They can quiet the mind, still the mind, and create focused consciousness. We all can do that, by the way. Every one of us is psychic. How many of you have thought about somebody, they call you and you think, oh, that was really weird? Or I was just thinking about you, and you see them at a coffee shop. Or we're all psychic. We just don't give ourselves credit for that. And it's discouraged by certain institutions. So, they teach these people, they tell these people, we want you to imagine in your mind, imagine the leaf, the plant, glowing. And to the naked eye, all the way across the planet, the scientists could see it glow. How is that possible? How is it possible? Now, I'm just giving you a small example of the many studies that have been done in the field of consciousness research. We now know, without any doubt, that nothing exists without consciousness creating it. Not even the body you are living in. It's actually being created. It was not created. It's actually currently being created. Right now, you're actually creating health or disease in your body. You are actually creating it. You are altering the DNA. You can actually measurably alter your DNA through thoughts. This is scientific fact. This is not fiction. And it's studies that were done over the last 40 years that have proven all of this. So let me give you another one. These are water molecules. How many of you have heard of Dr. Emoto from Japan who studied water? He studied what is the effect of thoughts or images or vibration like music on water. And he found that absolutely the water reacts differently to different thoughts. And so you can see what the thoughts are. Compassion, thank you, wisdom. These are thoughts. These are actually just words written on the outside of the glass, the test tubes. And then you've got water before and after a Buddhist praise. So you've got water that's contaminated, the Buddhist praise, look what the molecule does. This is the word you fool. This is I will kill you. This is heavy metal music. That's the effect on water. What are you? Water. You're 75% water. So imagine that. A thought I think is impacting you. So when you're standing in front of a prospect, before you've spoken a word, they're already feeling what you're thinking. Do you think that's going to affect how the meeting goes? How the conversation goes? Oh my God. Oh, the things that I've been thinking? Oh my God. No wonder they said no. So, are you thinking about the money you're going to make? Are you thinking about something else? Or are you really thinking about what's good for them? Are you really interested in what's going on in their life? Are you genuinely looking for a way to help them, make a difference in their life, to contribute in a positive way? Or is it about you? What am I getting? Think about that. Because the thoughts you're thinking are actually causing an effect on their body. They don't know it. It's not on a conscious level. But the subconscious level is picking it up, and they pick it up as a feeling. And so they may not be feeling positive about this, or they may be feeling doubtful. What about if you are doubtful? What about if you're not sure if you're going to succeed? What about if you're uncertain about this business? What about if you're not sure about network marketing, etc., etc.? Oh, and then you put that out in front of somebody else. Why would it surprise you if they didn't react favorably? So this is how important this subject is. There's an image. This is called Carillion photography. This is a way of photographing the energy in and around us. Now, the top image is our hand. You can see this energy that's around our hand. I know people, and I've met people, who can tell you the color of the energy around your body. They can actually see your aura. They can actually see it with their eyes. Their eyes are capable of seeing it. There was a time in the history of man, I think that was more common than not. You heard about people with the gold, the halos. Why are there all those pictures of these halos? I think people were actually seeing them, these energy fields. Well, we can photograph them, so we know they're real. We know they exist. And I can actually teach you how to see someone's aura. You can experiment with this. It's not hard to do. And you can start to open your mind. Remember, you will see red cars or blue cars. If you believe you can see auras, you will begin to see them. But you have to really believe it. You can't just say, oh, I really believe it. Trust me, I believe it. You can't lie to your body. Whatever you say doesn't matter. Does your body believe it? That's what matters. And so what you could do is you could start playing with the idea. At night, in bed, in the pitch black of the night, make sure there's no light. Hold your hand up in front of your face. Now, you know your hand is in front of your face. It's you holding it up. And see it. Just open up to the possibility that you can actually see it. Now, it's pitch black, but open up to the possibility that you can actually see it. And you may start to see a faint image around it. Okay? And you can actually expand on that. You can see it around people. You just have to know how to tune out the real world and get into something that's a little bit more subtle, and you can start to see these energies. But we can photograph them with scientific equipment. So I'm not making this up. This is real. What's most interesting about this, by the way, there's the leaf. No wonder there was a reaction. But the most interesting thing is there's a key. So everything has this energy. This energy that makes everything anything is God. If God is infinite, and there is no other God but one, then can you point to anything and say that is not God? Therefore, everything I can point to is God. So God is the manifestation of everything. And the energy that is manifesting itself into whatever form it's manifesting itself into has varying degrees of consciousness according to God's will and creation, blueprint. And it's all connected because the only energy that's making it be what it is God. And since that's the only energy there is, it's expressing itself in this time-space. We are all it, expressed in a very unique and different way. But it's only one energy that's being expressed here. It only appears to be different and apart. That is only appearing to you in your mind, in your consciousness, not in reality. In reality, there is only one thing happening right now. There's only one mind, there's only one energy, there's only one source, there's only one God, and it's infinite, and it's you, and me, and everything else. The thing that makes creation so remarkable is that you and I can see each other as different and separate. Even though we're not, really. We only think we are because we were given the ability to perceive ourselves. Self-awareness. So I see me as me. I've given myself a name, or I was given a name, but it's my name, it's not who I am, it's just my name, what they call me. Notice I usually don't say I'm Mike DiMuccio. I usually say my name is Mike DiMuccio. Because I'm not Mike DiMuccio. That's just the personality. So who am I? Somebody said it right. So when Jesus said, I and the Father are one, though the Father is greater than I am, he was right. Any one of you could say that and be absolutely, totally right. It wasn't unique to him. I and the Father are one. The Father is greater than I, clearly, because I'm sitting here in a physical body, and you're sitting over there, and we're both part of the same I, the bigger I, the I am, the great I am. So, if this is true, and it is, then we're all connected. Our thoughts are connected. That means if I'm looking to attract to me those diamonds, then when I express that intention, it's hitting everything and everyone at the same time. That intention is going and touching everything because it's the energy. And that energy is everywhere. So those diamonds out there who are resonating on that frequency, on that channel, are going to be drawn in the direction of me. We will find each other because that's what we will see. I'll see the blue cars. So will they. So that's how profound this understanding is. These are the books I was just referring to: the Intention Experiment, The Hidden Images of Water, and The Field by Lynn McTaggart. It's so amazing what we actually know in the world right now is science, but it's not being taught. Your children aren't learning this in school. My children are learning this. So, where do we get the education for this success that we're all hungry for? We have to find it in our own way. And in Nikken, fortunately, we are able to have these conversations without feeling like we're going to be crucified. I'm sure in some former life I was. I've always been a radical. So, in HBM, have you heard this? Those of you who haven't taken it won't know this, but we call this intention plus mechanism equals results. The intention, that inspired thought that you put out, is having an impact. The mechanism is this mysterious hand of God that's at work connecting everything to everything, which produces the result. But what we really know is this mechanism is so infinite and powerful beyond anything we can understand, that what really governs the formula for results is intention. Intention is what gives us our results. The mechanism is always there. If I said, I'm going to go to Japan, are there many ways I can get to Japan? There's an infinite number of ways I can get to Japan, and it's so many mechanisms. But how will you know if I truly intended to get to Japan? How would you know? How would you know if I truly intended to get to Japan? Because I get there. That's how you know. The mechanism will be made available, always. But the only thing that determines whether the result is going to be a result is the intention. So, if you intend to succeed, you will succeed if it's a true intention. If you're going to try this, don't even bother starting. Make the decision one time. Just make the decision one time. Don't make the decision to do Nikken, make the decision to succeed. That's the decision you want to make. That's what it takes to be in alignment with success. It's a decision to be aligned with it. And then, by all these mysterious laws, things will start to happen that you cannot explain. And don't even bother explaining. Just accept that the miracles will start showing up in your life. Because that's all they've always done. That's how it's always happened. And if you really test this theory in your own personal life, you will see that there are moments in time in your life that you gave out a real pure intention. And there was this angel, this something. Maybe it didn't happen right away. Maybe it happened a couple weeks later. Maybe it happened a couple of months later. Maybe even a little bit more. But it's profound that it does happen within a certain period of time, a reasonable period of time. You can draw into your life these remarkable things. And the bigger the intention is, the more clear the intention is, obviously, the grander the results, the grander the experience will be of these surprise miracles. How many of you are with me on this? Some of you still in doubt? I got help for you. I understand doubt. Napoleon Hill said, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe it can achieve. It is so not surprising to me that that's on this, that I made this slide. Because if you actually go to my high school book, and I have a copy, you go in, and you know how they write the graduating class? They always have some catchphrase. So-and-so said blah. So-and-so said blah. Well, if you look under my picture, that's what's under my picture. No surprise I'm talking about that today. How did I know that in high school? I wasn't in this business, but there was something about me that was the truth that I somehow was able to resonate with or connect to, and it inspired me to say that. So, I'm going to give you a picture that was given to me by my mentor. I'm going to show you how this works in a practical way. Imagine the big circle is your mind. Now, your mind is not your brain. Your brain is your brain. It's an electrochemical system that's firing switches and so forth that controls aspects of our body. It's a beautiful computer, organic computer. But it's not your mind. You can't see your mind. Your mind is much bigger than that. It's an intangible. It's an idea. It's a thought. But the smaller circle, that's your body. That's your body in this picture. The mind is split up into two things. The conscious mind, that's the thoughts you think when you were able and old enough to actually have thoughts of your own. Then there's the subconscious mind, which is what you were fed over many, many, many years. These are the thoughts that somehow translate into feelings. So our subconscious mind, let's say, for example, I have a feeling, or a thought. I give my conscious mind, I give it a thought. The thought is, let me back up for a second. There's this power, like how we talked about, that works through us and is us. And this power is infinite and it's unadulterated. This infinite power of the divine is pure, pure light, pure energy, pure. And then it comes into us and we then characterize it. We filter it and characterize it. That's the gift of creation. We are co-creating. So the Father is infinite, the Son is finite. And when the Father and the Son are aligned, miracles happen. But when the Father and Son are not aligned, chaos happens. So what happens is this pure thought comes in, this pure energy comes in, and allows me to have a thought. The energy behind the thought is the same energy behind anything. And it doesn't matter if it's a good thought or bad thought. God doesn't tell me I have to have good thoughts. He allows me to have any thought. Think about it. Do you have different thoughts? Good, bad? Yeah. The power behind that thought is infinite and powerful and pure. You're the one who's creating a positive or a negative thought. Your mind is doing that. The mind of God is perfect. So this is the characterization. We give a thought, and then we imagine. So let's imagine now. Let's imagine something. What would be worth imagining? Hey, imagine it to the point where you fall in love with it, and guess what happens? That love starts to get expressed. That energy comes out into the physical world, and it touches the plants, and it touches the keys, and it touches everybody. Okay? So pure energy comes into my mind. I characterize that. I put it into the subconscious mind, and depending on how I feel about it, it gets expressed. It goes out into the universe and draws to me the actuality. My mentor said, if you can hold it in your if you can hold it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. You can hold it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand, whatever it is. So this is the creative process. Now here's what happens in life. What happens in life is we set a goal. Let's say the goal, let's get back to work. Let's say the goal is Royal Diamond. Is that a good idea? That's a really good idea. You've been hearing me talk about it all day, right? It's a good idea. How do you feel about that idea? You're just talking. You got to feel it. Feel it. Go into the feeling. You don't have to speak. How do you feel about that idea? Okay, I want you to say something out loud. I am a Royal Diamond. I am a Royal Diamond. How does it feel? Now, if you're standing in front of your family this weekend at dinner, and you stand up and announce to your family, I am a Royal Diamond, how do you think it's going to feel? Now, how many of you are having some doubts about it right now? See, there's some feelings that are already in there, even though the idea is a good idea. There's some feelings that are in our, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead here. So our senses, our five senses, touch, sound, smell, taste, and hearing. Our senses, since we were this creative, has been taking in information. And that information is in that subconscious mind of ours. So even though we have this wonderful idea that we want to hold on to and make reality, our senses have been pounding down some ideas of its own. And so we've got some ideas that are going to sit there and compete. They're going to compete with our great idea. And we don't even know what they are. We just know there's this weird feeling. I'm feeling doubt. I'm feeling restless. I'm not going to stand in front of my family and tell them I'm Royal Diamond. They're going to laugh at me. See what you're imagining? You're creating. You haven't even had the experience yet, but you've already imagined the experience. Not only that, but you're feeling the feeling of what the experience would be. You're doing all this in your mind. Nothing has happened. You're sitting in your chair right now. But are you affecting the rest of us? Are you affecting the world? Are you affecting your family right now, who you're thinking about? We already know that's true. So think about that. This is a tough position because I didn't have control over a lot of those thoughts when I was young. And when I got older, I probably started putting some of those thoughts of my own in there. Not so good. I'm so fat. I'm so ugly. I'm so stupid. I'm so this. I'm so that. Every one of those are real. Every one of those things that you put any emotion into went inside and got stored up. So you come across Nikken. What a wonderful idea. This is fantastic. I'm going to do this. And then you start walking, and then what's holding you back? All of those other things. And you don't even know. You can't. It's like, I don't understand why it's so hard. I don't understand why people don't want to talk to me. I don't understand why people don't listen to me. I don't understand. Really? Really? You don't understand? Well, let me help you understand. That's what's going on. What's going on is you. You are sending out two messages at the same time. One of them is, this is a great idea. The other one is, you're such an idiot. You're so stupid. Nobody believes you. Nobody will listen to you. Network marketing is crazy. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, you should join me. That way you can feel this way too. So, how do I deal with this? How do I overcome the inertia of my entire history? Some people go to psychiatrists. You know, I don't understand why. And a psychiatrist, they just sit there and listen. They don't really do anything. Or they might do worse, prescribe a medication. Let's make you dumber than you are. So, how do we overcome this? Now, my mentor taught that there's tools, there's ways you can help overcome. What you water will grow. What you don't water will die. So we want to water those positive things, and we want to let those negative things die. So what are ways we can water those positive things? We've talked about a few. Hang out together as a Nikken family. Read these books. Connect with people who are succeeding and so forth. These are ways to water, because the people will tell you what you're capable of. They will remind you of who you really are. A good mentor will remind you of who you really are. And they'll say, stop pretending you're an idiot. You're not an idiot. Stop pretending you're this person who looks in the mirror and feels disgusted. Stop pretending. It's just a personality. You're pretending. You're so good at acting at who you are. You believe it yourself. But every one of us is an actor. Acting Mike DiMuccio. Acting whoever. It's just an act. Who am I really? Who am I really? Forget about who I think I am. That's just who I think I am, and my mind is limited as a human being. But in the divine space, I am that I am. I am perfect. I am the Father are one. In that space, there's no delineation between me and the Father. So when Jesus would do these miracles, if you read the passages, it's very clear. He always separated himself from the negative thoughts. So if he was with a group of people who were crying and whining over a situation, he would separate himself. And it always says that he would go unto the Father. He would say, they say, he would then go unto the Father. What does that mean? Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all other things will be given unto you. So he would first shift out of this thing called Jesus of Nazareth, the person. He would move into the consciousness of I and the Father are one. He would move into that space. And then, in recognition and honor of that, he would say, thank you. That's the first thing he would do in performing a miracle, is the acknowledgement that he and the Father are one. In that space of I and the Father are one, it is no longer my mind at work. It is now the mind of the Creator. And I would then decree, because I am the Creator, said, let there be light, and there was light. Lazarus, come forth. Get up and walk. See. And in that space, the miracle would happen, because the law is the law. Now we think it would happen instantly for him. He was special because it happened instantly for him. He must be the only one. But he also said, know ye not that ye are gods? These things, and greater things yet, you are capable of. Did he not say that? So why are we always saying he was different, he was special, he was unique, when he himself is telling you that's not true? When he's saying these are things you're capable of, what you need to learn is what I'm doing. What you need to be is in the consciousness of the one doing that. He would always say that it's the Father who's doing this through me. He would always say that. It is the Father that is doing this. It's the glory to God that's making that happen. He would recognize that he is the conduit of the consciousness, making stuff happen. So, in the light of this diagram, what do we need to do to overcome this? We need to get into the space of the mind of the Creator. We need to bypass our mind. We need to take the idea straight into the body and let it go out. We need to bypass the subconscious mind that's causing all of this chaos. We need to let a good idea be a good idea and come out into fruition. How we do that? By your faith, you are healed. Which is why that was always the statement. I did not do the healing. It was by your faith you were healed. That's what it meant. By your faith. By being faithful to the process, he would let these things come through. And so it's the faithfulness. It's being faithful to the vision. If you're going to continue to question the vision and doubt the vision, how is this vision going to work for you? You're going to be sending out that double binding message all the time. But if you just say, okay, I may have flaws. I may have history. And when I'm being recognized on stage by Nikken as a royal diamond, I can look back and I can tell you how that happened. But there's a big gap between now and then. But I know if I've achieved this, then I've overcome that gap. But the only reason why I would even attempt to overcome that gap is because I believe I can make this happen. And why do I believe that I can make this happen? Because I don't need to know how it's going to happen. I just need to know it's happened. In some place and time, it's happened. And I got there in some place and time by faith, knowing full well I wouldn't know how it was going to happen, but trusting full well that it would happen according to the law, which is the divine mechanics. So when we operate from there, you make things happen. You'll make some amazing things happen. And I'll give you a story. So this is what it means to have a positive attitude. It means to have your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions all congruent. Your thoughts, your feelings, your actions are all saying the same thing. There's a gold card. There's a piece of paper. It's old. But that's the original. Let me read it to you. Forget the part in red. I added that later. The part in black is, and there's a signature, Bob Proctor. On September 27, 1997, I'm thrilled and filled with the joy and satisfaction to have completed my objective of Royal Diamond with 6 platinums. That's what it said originally. Then I changed it to 3 platinums, 3 diamonds, and 3 platinums. Signed it by Reed Nelson and another one of my mentors, and Bob Proctor. That was the card that I carried in my pocket everywhere I went from the moment I made the decision. And when I made the decision, I was actually with Bob Proctor in a Bob Proctor seminar called The Science of Getting Rich. And he pointed me out in a crowd and said, "Hey, Mike, when's your goal for Royal Diamond?" And I was so embarrassed. I didn't have a goal for Royal Diamond. I was Diamond, but I actually didn't have a goal for Royal Diamond. Here I am leading people, and I'm not even leading myself. I don't have one, Bob. What do you mean you don't have one? Oh, let's make one right now. That's Bob. He doesn't waste any time, doesn't mince words. Let's get on with it. So what's your goal? I thought about it, and I thought, you know what? My mother's birthday. My mother passed away the year I joined Nikken. So this whole journey has been quite a journey for me in honor of her. And so I made that the date. I thought, okay, because it means something to me. It has to mean something to you. You have to love the idea. So that meant something to me. But it was only 5 months away. And in order for this to happen, I had to help 15 people become silver. 15. Not only that, but they were second level, not first level. Not what I created, but what I had to help other people create, which is even more difficult. Inspiring others to get the work done. Not only that, but not even one of those people were identified. I just thought, if I'm going to ever prove that this is the truth, that I can stand in front of an audience and teach the truth. I need to know it's the truth. And the only way I'm going to know it is if I do it. So I set a goal. It was big. 15 silvers had to be produced to make that happen. 5 months out, which I'd never seen anything like that happen. Nobody ever did that. So it was huge. It was impossible. There was no way. If you said, how are you going to do it? I would like, pfft. I don't know. But Bob promised me, these are the laws. This is the truth. And your Creator and His Son proved it. So, you're one of them. Make it happen. So, I decided to make that happen. On the back side of that card, I decided to give myself a tool. Because the rules are, you have to know the result, the idea. Royal Diamond. It is done. Honor before. I'm so grateful. Gratitude. Gratitude is an attitude. Gratitude is my thoughts, feelings, and actions are, I am grateful for every moment of my life, every precious moment, that everything is brought into my path with purpose, with reason, as a consequence of my alignment with truth. And so, I put on the back side of the card a hint to remind myself that this goal was alive. It's a live goal. It's something you're living every minute of every day. You're either in alignment with it or you're not. And so, do you think there are moments in time where you have doubt? Do you think there are moments in time where I had doubt? There was a moment, I was in a car, I was in my red convertible Mercedes-Benz 500 SL, gorgeous car, tan leather interior, my Nikken car, driving on the 401 highway leaving Ottawa to get to Toronto after meetings in Ottawa to help my cousin who was going to be one of those platinums to help me go Royal Diamond. And as I'm driving, I get a phone call from one of my almost platinums who calls me. This is in it's in September, so this is the last throes of the exercise. So we're in September, and the Nikken convention in Toronto was October, middle of October. So this would also be an opportunity for me to be recognized. And who was going to be there? Isamu Masuda, our founder. So wow, I mean, there's so much going on. So I'm in the car. She calls me, Carolyn, and says, in her very particular way, "Oh, Mike, you know, it's the person they're not doing this, and you know, blah blah blah." And the whole thing is collapsing. That last silver to make her platinum, that one person was bailing out. This was not going to happen, and she's in a fix, and she's upset and blah. You know, she's that energy. Oh yeah, oh, and I remember that very moment, a thought go through my head. The thought was, "It's a good thing you have an extra month." That's the thought that crossed my mind. It's a good thing I have until October because the convention's not till October. Was that a truthful thought? Was that a thought that was in alignment? No. September 27 was the goal, not sometime in October. Where did that thought come from? What was that thought going to do if I listened to it? It was going to sabotage my success. It's amazing. The thoughts that come up in our head that are just out of nowhere that sabotage us. And that's those negative thoughts. That's those, oh, it's a good thing you gave yourself until October. Your mind is so clever, and my mind is exceptionally clever. It knows exactly what to say. And so I get off the phone, driving, and then I'm like, whoa, wait a second here. I reminded myself of the rule. You're not allowed to bail out. You're supposed to trust the process, have faith, don't worry about it, because it'll figure itself out. I don't know how it's going to happen. That's not my business. That's the man upstairs' business. My job is to stay on point. Stay in alignment. So what happens next? I pick up the phone, call Carolyn, and say, "Carolyn, cancel, 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 cancel." That was like my way of saying, all those thoughts, negative, cancel, 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 cancel. I don't know how it's going to happen. It'll be interesting to see how it happens. And there was only 3 days left for that to happen in the month for our goal. And fortunately, she was thinking the same way. When I got to her on the phone, she was thinking exactly the same way. So I got off the phone, cleared that energy. Now, what did I have as my little tool to remind me when that stupid idea got into my head or those doubts come into my head? I wrote on the back of the card something very special. Can you see it? Faith of a mustard seed. There's a biblical story where Jesus taught. I quote Jesus because I know a lot of people can relate to Jesus and they see him as truth. And so, but I also see him as teaching the law. So he said, if you had but the faith of a mustard seed, you could say to this mountain, move, and the mountain will move. What is the faith of a mustard seed? A mustard seed is a very, very tiny seed. But he's telling you that it only takes a little bit of faith and you can move a mountain. Because faith means you don't have doubt. You can't have faith and doubt. That's not possible. You either are in faith or you're in doubt. Those are two opposing energies. So faith is alignment with a higher power and an understanding that there are things at work that are beyond my mind's ability to comprehend. So I walk with confidence, knowing that I have the universe working for me. And guess what? On September 26th at 6 p.m., they announced I had finished the job and I was Royal Diamond. That job was done. 6 hours ahead of schedule. I was in Edison, New Jersey. On the stage, there was 5,000 people in the audience, and they wanted to introduce me as a Royal Diamond. I said, until it's done and confirmed, you can't do that. So I'm on stage, and at the back of the room is my cousin Michelle, who's the 6th and final platinum, on the phone, making the phone calls, getting things put together, and then he runs up to the side of the stage and he does this. And that meant it was done. So I use this example because for me this was the test. This was the true test of whether or not there's legitimacy to these stories of miracles. And I believe they're real. So who are you being? Are you being who people tell you you are? Are you being who your parents are telling you you are? Are you being who the little child inside of you is telling you are? I'm afraid, I'm lonely. Who are you being? Because who you are being is being expressed. And it's in the results of your life that you're able to see its expression. So if you want to change those results, you need to change who you're being. You can be anything you want to be. You're not like a plant, can only be a plant. You're not like an oak tree that can only grow up into an oak tree. You can actually change your mind about who you want to be at any point in time. You can be successful, you can be a failure, you can be loved, you can be hated, you can be worshipped, you can be, denied, you could be anything. But it's all based on who you are being in your heart. And if you are walking in faith, knowing and trusting that the law of the universe is exact, precise, it will reflect back in your world, in your life, in the picture screen of your life, through your relationships and your successes or failures. It's reflecting back who you're being. And so we need to be conscious of our thoughts. We need to be choosing them wisely. We need to be on purpose. We need to be guided and governed by things that matter to us. Set a goal that matters. Make it one time, that decision. And then let everything fall in line and be faithful. The idea of faith is really simple. It's be faithful to the image of the person you wish to experience yourself as. Be faithful to the image of the person you want to experience yourself as. Be faithful to that. This person that you have been up to now is who you've been up to now unconsciously. Now, be conscious and start being faithful to that person, and you will see the world organize itself around you, and things will start to change. Now, the only thing to get from here to here is to deal with the reflection of the world that contradicts your image. So when Carolyn calls me up and says, "It's not happening," that's a contradiction to my image. Hell yes, it's happening. It's just not happening that way. Faith is the thing that will allow you to get from here to there in spite of what you experience on the way. You look in your bank account and you see a number. You imagine another number. Well, until that number's in your bank account, you're going to have to live with what's in there. So every time you look, don't be confused by what you see. What you see is a reflection of the past. It is not a reflection of where you're going. If you can hold that in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. And with that thought, thank you.
Pero quiero verdaderamente agradecer a las personas que ayudaron a que esto fuera posible. Y uno por uno los voy a mencionar rápidamente. Nuestra traductora Elena de la Rosa, por favor denle un muy fuerte aplauso.
Gracias.
A su técnico y su equipo, Sabás, y su equipo. Y les voy a decir por qué. Es la primera vez que ellos hacen una traducción simultánea en una sala de cine. Yo estaba necia, como es mi costumbre, que usáramos el sonido del cine y todas las especificaciones y triquismiquis que se me ocurren. Hicieron un extraordinario trabajo. Llegaron desde las 6 de la mañana con los equipos, hicieron una cosa espectacular. Por otro lado, a los que sirvieron la comida, a Nikken, de verdad no está aquí, pero les pido que también le den un aplauso porque es un extraordinario trabajo. A Iván, ¿dónde estás? Iván, que se encarga de las cámaras y las luces. Le voy a pedir a José Luis Raimundo que pase aquí al frente, por favor, y que le den un grandísimo aplauso, porque él es mis otros ojos, mi otra boca, mi otra nariz, y sin él nada de esto hubiera sido posible. Gracias, José Luis. Y le voy a pedir a Patti Sotliff, Olga Zapico, Paula Bello, Fabiola Ampudia, y ya en mi cerebro está Patti Salce, que se paren y que se pongan de pie. A Gloria López, Paulina Villela, Gloria Nava, se van poniendo de pie. No se me olvida nadie. Fabiola, Paula, Geo, Ceci Barzábal, Marisa López, Viveca Rothman, Patti Sotliff, Patti Salce, Olga Zapico. Un fuertísimo aplauso porque aguantaron vara, pero vara porque me va a hacer unas campeonas. Estoy orgullosísima de ustedes y sin ustedes nada de esto existiría. Así que muchas gracias. Y gracias a Mike por haber dicho que sí. Porque, ¿saben qué? No me conocen. Entonces él dijo que sí a algo que no tenía ni la más remota idea de lo que se iba a tratar. Es una cosa muy valiente de hacer. Entonces, gracias, Mike. Está increíble. Gracias por haber dicho que sí.